Okay, welcome everybody to episode 35 with Raf Howery.
That's correct.
I got that right. Okay, this is my first time meeting Raf, as PK just asked me before we started. So we are doing this live for real. So today's intro by ChatGPT is today's guest sits right in the intersection of housing, data, and common sense, which frankly is a rare place. We're joined by Raf Howery, CEO and founder of, and is it Kukun?
Yes, correct.
Okay, 2 for 2. AI-powered property technology platform bringing transparency and clarity, one of the most stressful parts of home ownership remodeling. Raf's not just a tech founder, he's a longtime entrepreneur, data strategist, and someone who's personally renovated homes long before turning that obsession into a company. After a career at Capgemini,
Yeah.
3 for 3, he saw firsthand how fragmented and frustrating the renovation process was and decided to fix it with better data, smarter tools, and fewer surprises. Today, Kukun helps homeowners, investors, and lenders understand true home value, renovation costs, and ROI, which makes his conversation incredibly relevant for anyone in the mortgage and housing space. Welcome to the show. All
Wow,
right.
I'm impressed with ChatGPT today.
How did it do? How did it do, Raf?
I mean, it's a bit old. I think we've evolved a lot more. So it's leveraged some old information with new information, came out with decent result. If I were to redo it, I would just tweak it a little bit. But it's done a good job, so I can't complain. It'll do a better job than me in 1 hour. That's good.
Well, we've got 56 minutes to prove it.
There you go. We'll give it a try.
When I first read it, I'm just sitting here going, "This guy's good at flipping houses." That's so my brain started going
that way. I mean, the initial idea, way, about 10 years ago, was about creating that transparency of actually renovation, right? I mean, I've been a victim of it. The entire market is a victim of it. It's quite opaque, right? Nobody knows what things should cost. I always kind of used to liken it how in the past where people used to haggle for the price of a car when they go to a dealer, and then suddenly all these prices are up there. You know what the dealer part is. That whole negotiation is kind of got simplified. So I was like, you've got to do something similar to construction and renovation. That's kind of how it started. But we've evolved a lot after that about home ownership as an investment overall, not just the renovation is just a part of it, but not the whole thing.
Got it. So give me your elevator 60-second Kukun for dummies. And is Kukun coming from like a cocoon? Is that the basis? Okay.
Yeah, it's the nest. It's your nest.
Okay.
The way we wrote it was first to command attention. And also I've done some research, and basically any of those names that sound odd, look odd, they are memorable, whether we like it or not. Google, Yahoo. I mean, if you kind of think about those names, if you heard them the first time, you're probably going to say, Google? What is that? So that's the whole idea. It's like, okay. And I chose the letter K because it's architectural in the way it looks. And so that's how we started. It's a love or hate kind of name. I love it. A lot of people love it. A lot of people don't like it. They don't get it. Well, it's too late.
It's like Mace Innovations.
Oh, what a terrible name for a company. What a terrible name. What kind of egomaniac does that?
You have a website with your name, Mason?
Yeah.
There you
go. So I'm glad you didn't go with Howery Homes. You went with Kukun.
Yeah, I didn't think that was going to fly really. To get back to your quick elevator pitch, we are a homeowner engagement platform, meaning if you kind of look at the world of real estate, as a home buyer, you have a lot of tools to engage with. All the portals are there to help you buy or sell. Zillow, Redfin, all those guys. But once you buy it and you own it, first that home sort of becomes dark. Nobody knows what you've done to it. And you're on your own trying to source anything you need to do this home. So what we wanted to do is to kind of look at that point where you buy to that point where you sell, and engage you, help you manage it. So that is your biggest investment. Let's face it, for the majority of us, this is our biggest investment. And this is how people sort of retire, send their kids to college and all of that. But there's no smart way today to treat it like any other investment. So that's what we wanted to do, is to just kind of inform you, engage you, allow you to understand what would raise your value or the value of your home, what would lower it. And that's how it started. The company, by the way, anybody can go and claim a home on our website and play and see if those play with those tools. The company is structured already in 3 layers. The bottom layer is a data layer. We collect all our own data. We only license the MLS. And the purpose of all this data that gets aggregated together is to identify the property condition. So unlike the appraisal industry, which would do it at the property level, we kind of try to age out every component of a major component of the house. We define something called a PICO, similar to a FICO to a house. Now you understand what the market thinks of your home as its condition. Because we tried like the 0 to 10, the 0 to 100. People said 70, is that good? Is that bad? Is that average? I don't get it. So we moved to the PICO type of thing. People got it. But so you got the data layer. The most important data layer is the permit data, where we were able to see what was touched in every single property. We use a lot of AI to get to be able to ingest that. And then from there on, we use that data again to define the AVM, the valuation of the property, the forecasted value. We did the cost of renovation with the ROI on it. We built an entire kind of dashboard where if you claim your home, you're going to receive a lot of alerts on things happening in your neighborhood, whether that's a permit being filed by the city, commercial, residential, that is meaningful to you, sales, spendings, so on and so forth, a maintenance cycle with how to a change in your home value, a change in your forecast. All of those get sent to your mailbox. You can look at them and you can start to engage. That's sort of in a nutshell from a consumer perspective what we do for a living. That's more than 60 seconds. So I'm going to shut up for a minute and let you react.
So, real quick question. You said the ROI thing. So in that, are you taking like, hey, if you upgrade your, I don't know, let's say your kitchen cabinets, for example, you're able to use that to and look at market comps and be like, okay, this will actually generate the
Yeah,
highest ROI in
yeah,
your sale price if that's what you want to do.
that's exactly right. We will look at it from we look at the fix and flip industry very, very thoroughly because we have all the permit data, we have all the sales transaction, we have the contractor data, and we're able to monitor that. So that allows us to extract the ROI because of all of this data sitting together. The way the cost on renovation is played out, and again, everybody can play with it on our website. You have a home to play with for free, is to kind of like, once you give me your home address, I'm gonna pull every piece of data on that house really quickly. And once you tell me what the project that you want to do, then I'm just gonna give you a quick answer that you can modify. So I'm gonna tell you what we think the size of your room. You're gonna even decide and apply a finish level to your home so that we define the material, because that's really the art of doing this. ROI is very tightly linked to the finish, the material to use. The more expensive it becomes, the less ROI, the less profitable. The cheapest it gets, the less ROI. I mean, if you're going to look at what we call the builder grade, that's what the fix and flip guys do, right? It's really basic material that looks good, and that gives you the ROI. And so we've done enough research. We do a lot of AI modeling to kind of come up with those numbers.
So this might be a dumb question, but so whenever those fix and flip guys flip a house, they have to report that to the county of what they did to the house.
You
Like,
have to
how are you
apply for
get? How are you?
you have to apply for a permit, because every time
Got
you
it.
do anything to your house, you're going to change your tax basis, whether you like it or not. The county won't allow you to do anything because that's taxes. They want their taxes. So you're going to apply for a permit, especially if you touch things like plumbing, electrical, structural. If you touch any of those three, you need a permit from the county, from the city, actually, not even the county.
This
The
is
bill.
countrywide.
This is countrywide. There are, of course, different, codes. Here in
Sure.
California, it's a lot stricter, and even within California, some cities
Hmm.
are extremely like picky, and some cities not so picky. So it's all different. Texas is very liberal with that.
Mm.
For example, in Texas, you don't even have to be licensed as a contractor. You're a business. You'd have to have a
Hmm.
business license, right? So it changes. The rules are. That doesn't mean everybody does. But if you don't pull a permit, as a fix and flip
Hmm.
guy, you can't do it, because when you try to sell it,
Hmm.
those are going to be under disclosures. And
Oh,
if
so you want
no
you want it
permit,
clean.
so if you're a fix and flip guys, you will file for a permit. Homeowners, You get into the rural areas, not so much. But frankly, the rural areas don't really make it change a lot the economics of the market, so that makes no difference. But the number of permits filed on a daily basis is crazy. We are actually bringing permits on a daily basis, and there are days we bring in 4 to 10 million a day, just to kind of give you an
Mm,
idea of the sheer volume of it. And this, of course, is
wow.
season.
Also, so this is, I guess, like a maybe a founder question, but like, how do you, I guess, like, how do you market Cocoon and how do you get to like these homeowners? Do you like, is it direct mail? Like how do you like get reach them?
So our model is B2B2C. We don't really
Mm.
market the C part of it, right? The consumers,
Got it. Okay.
people find us and we have a pretty decent activity. As a matter of fact, we even block Google from crawling our pages. So we don't,
Mm,
people find us and they do join. However, we're in the business of white labeling those tools to a lot of
I
organizations,
see.
banks, insurance companies, mortgage brokers, and so on and so forth. We have a version of that dashboard for mortgage brokers and for realtors, similar to like what people get with HomeBot, for example, but a much more modern version, much more interactive, much more kind of
So it's a
more.
retention platform.
It is an engagement platform. I'm not going to even call it a retention, because the whole idea is to understand your customer needs before they actually do move on with the
Mm,
transaction. If you kind of look at what the market has done over the last 1 or 2 years, you'll see there's a lot of consolidations to move up the funnel.
mhm.
Everybody wants to go to the top of the funnel. How do you do that? You don't, as an organization, if you've seen the acquisition, of course, you acquire a big portal and you're fine. But for mid-size and even some of the larger, that's not really in the cards. So how do you stay
Yeah.
relevant? So engaging and staying with that homeowner about what they're planning on doing, and you being there as their guidance. I always say that mortgage brokers and realtors have to act almost like wealth managers. Do you go to a wealth manager and they don't talk to you once they actually open your account? No, they constantly work with you because that's their value add. And I think, of course, you can't scale that if you're trying to work with lots of homes. So you
Mm,
kind of create the technology to do that for you, and then you engage when you receive a signal.
gotcha. Um, Chris, you were gonna ask something, I think.
Yeah, so where are you getting all of this data from, since you said you're only getting data from MLS?
The only licensed data is the MLS data. Everything else we actually collected ourselves from the counties and the cities and the government. So this data is all public, hard to get, and really messy. And we
Mm.
spent, I would say, we spent 6 years trying to clean it, because when we initially started to collect it, we were not in the business of monetizing the data. Well, now we are, but at the time, we
Mm,
needed to be able to build these analytics. So when we start to kind of build the PICO score or the AVM, we recognize, for example, that the permit data was not usable in the shape that it's in. So we had to really invest in more AI to kind of
mhm.
extract context. What actually happened to the house at that moment, and what does it mean to its effective age? That was really a major part of our data cleanup. So now whoever licensed the data from us, they are able to leverage in the model right away. I mean, we have some really significant clients that are leveraging the data because it's easy to use, it's clean. We've kind of cleaned up the mess for ourselves, kind of thing.
Mhm. And then Raf, I think Chris covered a little bit of it in the background there. But you were in consulting for quite some time, and then I guess, like, how did you get into the industry? Was it primarily this problem that you were trying to solve around home renovation, or like what was your, I guess, like, entry point?
I mean, I would, part of it's accidental, I will be honest. I I was a management consulting
Yeah.
in the world of between technology and business. I
Hmm.
worked mostly with an organization that had a business problem that needed to be solved leveraging technology. And that's really where I played a lot of my roles in the past. And so I was used to problem solving. That's really what I would call my job.
Hmm.
Um, Got married, bought a house, needed work. We just moved to California. California was completely unaffordable. We moved from Washington D.C., and so we ended up buying a fix and flip kind of property. And from there, we kind of our eyes opened up a little bit, and we started to like it. And then it's like, okay, how can I bring technology to make the flipping homes better, faster,
Mm-hmm.
or
Mm-hmm.
more predictable? And that's how it sort of started. And when I spent about a good year sort of like boarding ideas. And actually the first thing we did was we built an estimator for renovation costs, thinking just like the car industry did it. Here's what it should cost. And I needed to figure out how to get it tested. And so
Mm-hmm.
my best case scenario, I start to go one realtor office to another, presenting it as a way for them to communicate with their clients, and they all loved it, and they all asked for the ROI. They all kind of say, buy this house, flip it, and here's how much equity you're going to build in this house. So they asked me to quantify that. And went back, and that's when I started to look at the permit data and licensed some data from a vendor, and the data was completely crap, unusable for me. Couldn't really build
Mm-hmm.
anything. So I'm
Mm-hmm.
like, okay, if I have to spend this much effort, I might as well collect it. And so from there on, that did well. Realtors were our biggest proponents.
Yeah.
Uh, and then people found out about it by word of mouth, and it started to do well. And then I get a call from one of the largest banks in the US. They said, we
Mm-hmm.
really love your tool. Can we put it on our HELOC page? We
Mm-hmm.
love put like 40% of our loans are in renovations,
Mm-hmm.
HELOCs. So can I put it on your page? And I'm talking about one of the largest banks in the world, if not the US. And
Mm-hmm.
I thought I hit the jackpot at the time, right? Because you don't, and I got into that whole foray of getting into a bank, which is not a fun experience for all of those that want to work with that. But nonetheless, that's how it started, and that gave it a lot of visibility. Other banks came in, other lenders came in, and from
Mm-hmm.
there on, it's everybody started to take a look at how do I engage a homeowner, and this is sort of like I moved from, okay, how do I invest in my property? Not how do I renovate my property, but how do I invest in it? And how do I make sure that whatever I decide is
Yeah.
financially worth it, right? So that's sort of like that's the progressive way that we've done it. Not necessarily, I wish I could say that I was a genius and I knew all of this from the beginning, but I wasn't.
And you're saying that today that you're selling this data, and that's also become a core part of your business.
We sell the data, we sell the analytics, we sell the AVM, we sell the forecast home value, we sell the renovation cost. We also white label the software. So we white label them to the bank for the banks and insurance industry and all that. And then we have a version, as I said, for mortgage brokers and
Yeah.
realtors. Sign in, they upload their customer base, and that customer is going to receive access to their dashboard and all the news related to their home, and it's gonna be courtesy of that mortgage broker, and that kind of so keeps them top of
In
mind
the loop. Yeah.
and allows them to communicate directly through the dashboard to the actual broker, so that there's
And
engagement.
Macy got it.
Well, I was gonna say, when I go to claim my home here, it says, give me your name and phone number." So I'm guessing that's some good data.
Well, we don't really sell the data. We're not in the
Okay.
business of selling our consumer data. That's not the point. The reason is we needed a bit of a wall between a bot and we needed some confirmation that you are actually the homeowner. That's not actually, this is the lowest wall. I've seen other companies do it, and they ask you way
Yeah.
more than. So yeah, but it's not a data that we're in the business. As I said, consumer as a
Yeah.
business, it's not a big focus for us. We're mostly in terms of monetization, we're in the B2B space, but our
And
consumer
who?
is healthy at the same
I was
time.
gonna say who. I guess I'm just curious, but who is buying the other data, the AVM, Pico, the other ones you mentioned? Like, who's your customer on that one, and what's their use cases? I guess.
Across the board, it all depends what you're selling. So there's, of course, you got some banks, you got
Mm.
lenders, you got the equity players, the people who actually get equity in your home.
Mm,
The prop tech industry, the wealth management industry, they all
got it.
kind of so. And if you see the dashboard, you see a number of boxes. Each one of them is an actual independent application.
Mm,
So a bank doesn't have to take the whole thing. They will take one, two, three, four, and mix it and match it with other tools that they have or applications and create a unique user experience for that homeowner.
got it. And also, again, I'm just curious, but where are you from, and like I guess like what's your background, like culturally?
Culturally, it's a really mixed one. I would say I've been in the US forever, but it's mostly French. So,
French. Okay,
but I've,
gotcha.
but I've been here forever.
Got it. Got it. Very cool.
Yeah,
I,
Nice.
I'm comparing. I'm just over here comparing my mom's house to mine. I'm saying who's got a better PICO score, and
What does the P in PICO stand for? Property.
property,
yeah,
Okay.
property, yeah. And there's
Cool.
even we have a mobile app in the App Store that does almost the same thing, but the difference is that you take a photo of every
Mm,
room. It will tell you the room and what it would cost to flip it. People who use that tool are mostly organizations that buy multiple homes at a time. So basically, it helps them sort of before they spend the energy in looking at the inspecting and underwriting it's just to see is this even possible or not. So that's
yeah.
like there's an app. It's called Cocoon Homes.
So
And
and
what is the biggest what do you think is the biggest thing that people think will help their home that doesn't? I know
mm,
everyone thinks adding $150,000 pool is going to add 150,000.
that used to be the case. Now pools are hot and popular after COVID
Oh, okay.
because people work from home. So
Oh,
mm,
now, actually, the more you invest in space, I mean,
okay.
eventually, you mark my words, there will be a day where we describe a house 3-2-1, 3 bedroom, 2 bathroom, 1 office, and it'll change. Now we've seen that transition where homes are bigger, even though we know we don't have the space. Homes have an office. There was one we monitored the cost estimator and the volume. There was a moment where adding a room was the most popular project. It usually it's always kitchen and bath, but
Right.
for a while, adding a bedroom was the biggest thing. Now, adding, of course, an ADU is a very hot thing as well.
Well, and
Right?
it's funny me telling my wife, if I build a new house, I want to downsize and I want to have a room that is barely 10 by 10 or even smaller just to be my office. It can stay warm fast, get,
Exactly.
whatever. And
Exactly.
she's like, just a little closet. I'm like, yeah, that's all I want. It's like a little slightly bigger than a closet.
Yeah. No, no, it's part of the future of homes. Offices are here to stay. Despite the fact that we're going back to the office, we're never going to go back to the way it used to be. I think, and the technology is even making it more and more feasible to work from home completely without even like I know someone who just applied for a job, got the job, remote job, in a senior role, and she hasn't seen anybody in management yet in person.
Yep.
Right? That's the future, right? So I think that is going to drive the ROI on homes because people work from home.
So what's the least, what do you think? What does the data show is the least ROI?
Um, right now, I don't really have that data on me off the top of my head. I would say usually luxury changes, like
Oh,
adding a sunroom or adding a. I've seen this the other day. Hot tubs, things of that nature, things that are just, I would say a very small segment of society would care for it because it also comes with the responsibility and the cost to operate, right? And so those tend to really kind of deliver the. Used to be pools. It used to be pools because also pools added more risk, so your insurance policy is more expensive, right?
mm.
So, but now people move past that. They still want the pool.
When you
hmm.
said sunroom, this might be a dumb thing to think, but I was like, well, you can just go outside.
Because you live in California. You can say that because you live in California. Try it in the Northeast right now.
Hold on. Hold on. Hold on, PK. I want you to pull out air quality index across the world, and I want you to zoom in on this area called New Delhi. That's the, I guarantee you, it's
You
the
can't
worst
do
air.
that there. You
And
can't do
coming
that
soon
there.
near you, coming soon near you, a big data center.
My comment is only for the U.S. markets.
So what's funny, PK, we live in this bowl here in Salt Lake. When in the winter, it's called the inversion, where we get some of the worst air quality in America. And my wife,
Oh.
every time we do, we just kind of joke. We look out, we're like, yeah, we're not going outside today, and we zoom out, just kind of look across the world. And I'm like, what is that black area? And it's like, oh, it's New Delhi, it's India.
Yeah, it's pretty bad there.
Yeah. Yeah.
So do you feel like this enables a little bit of a mindset for, instead of trying to really find the perfect home, do you see it as also a way, or for realtors to use it as, hey, stop looking for that 400, let's just throwing out numbers, stop looking for the $500,000 home. Here's a $400,000 home. If you put 100 grand into it, you've
Yeah.
got a $600,000 home.
That's correct. And not just that, the realtors are able to build models and printouts and create those kind of a part of their package, right? And in a way, if you've ever watched the Property Brothers, right, the whole idea is I'm going to take you. You have this dream of this nice house, but you can't afford it, and then I'm going to show you this old home that is not fun, but they're going to work on making it look as much as possible as the fancy one you like. And there's that cost that's a lot more reduced. There's a big business case. This is absolutely doable with what we're.
Do you have any kind of, this is probably, I haven't played around with your platform. Like, as we've been doing this, if you've been watching my eyes going like this, it's because I've been using the platform. But have you looked at any tools, or are they already in there to kind of, because I cannot visualize anything. Like, my imagination didn't develop. So my wife's like, oh, just imagine a room like this. I'm like, can you do a Canva for me? And so like, do you have anything like that for like dummies? Like, how can you imagine this room?
If you went to your property page, not the dashboard, you're going to see a tool to play with that. That's done with a partner, not ourselves, but you can do that. You'll see it on the image. Let me check. I think if you go to the property, it's been a while, so if you go on the property, you're going to see a map, and you're going to see something called AI design.
Okay.
That would allow you to do that. The app that we launched, that has the ability to also apply design principles on. So you take a picture of your old kitchen, and you get to choose, I want a country French, I want a modern, and it will flip it. It will show you what it would look like and the cost. A lot simpler than this one that
Okay, I see this. Okay.
And then do you have a marketplace there for contractors? So that,
Yes.
let's say the homeowner says, I do need help with this. You can push them to a contractor, and the contractor pays you?
The dashboard has a box for best contractors near me. And this is a neutral service. We don't charge contractors, so we don't monetize that. What we've done is we define the contractor by their reliability.
Oh, okay.
Because the way as you probably know, the contractor market is, there's a number of people who are there in the business. They're very solid. They've been there. They worry about their reputation, but there's a lot of them that go in and out of business.
Sure.
This is where our permit data really helped. We were able to isolate how many people come into the market, how many people live in the market, how many people are in and out, how are they in and out. And we looked at the permits, we looked at the Better Business Bureau, we looked at all their reviews, and we put that together into one score. We call it the reliability score. And from there, because you have your home dashboard, you go find contractors near you. Not only are you going to see all this information, but you're going to see every home they worked on. So if you have a neighbor that worked with this contractors, which is more likely the case if it's in your home dashboard, you'll be able to see which neighbors worked with the contractor, so you can easily knock on their door and get their recommendation.
I feel like you have so much data in the platform that you could, and maybe you're already doing this. It sounds like some of it you're doing this already, but data that you can sell back to like Wall Street or private equity investors and things like that.
Yeah, there is. I mean, we have one customer in that space. That type of customer requires more investment in kind of being there in their market, meaning being in
Mm,
their events and all of that, which I didn't have that kind of bandwidth to do that.
yeah.
But we do. I mean, our data quite unique in that sense, and also the ability to kind of get to understand the wishes of every homeowner. That's gonna go. It's a gold mine for a lot of people out in the lending space.
And Raf, how long has the business been around?
We incorporated in 2014. We really didn't launch until 2015.
Oh,
But
okay.
I would say what you see right now on the website is about circa 2020, meaning that the evolution we got into this kind of solid state in about 2020, 2021. And from there, what we've done is we started to repurpose all of our data for, like I said, different cases. That's the
Yeah, yeah.
beauty of what we have. It's quite a horizontal platform. You can build on top of it, you can white label, you can pull data from it, and you can build any tool and application. We have customers that buy our data to build solutions for them that we don't build ourselves, right? And so there's, permit data in particular it's one of those data that has a lot of potential, but very few people are able to kind of put their arms as to how do I use it. And I
Mm,
think we've given them an example of how you could use it. The PICO, knowing in the property page, for example, that I mentioned to you right now, Chris, is you'll
mhm.
see the shelf life or remaining useful life on every component of your house. So, for example, we all do that with the permits, with AI, with a lot of other data that we collect. We may be off here and there, but not fully, right? And so that's been kind of one of those ideas that evolved in time. That I think people are starting to right now. I would say since last year, I've seen a bigger understanding of that space, much more than ever before.
Was COVID a big year for you? Like that was that like a pivotal moment for the growth of the business, like post COVID, COVID.
I wouldn't say that. I think COVID COVID may. I think for the first year of COVID, actually, I would say the business was sort of like didn't know what's going on. Then we start to see a heavy use of the estimator, and we
Mm,
kind of like, okay, now people are investing in their homes, and this is where we moved into the home investment idea, right?
yeah.
Rather than just so, I would say yes and no. Yes, to some extent, there was a conclusion that was derived from COVID, but I don't think we've kind of in terms of actual business, it took
Mhm.
about 2 years to kind of reflect that.
Gotcha. Fascinating.
Yeah. And
And
now
then
we can,
I'll go for it.
yeah, what we're seeing is also with the acquisition of the portals, the Redfins and Avado and all that. I think people are right now realizing that what we could do could replace this top of the funnel story. So
Mm,
that they can white label this and engage their customers, because we do pretty much everything that the portal does without the portal purpose, right? Meaning we don't really generate leads per se to sell to a realtor. We give them the
mm.
tool right for themselves, but we don't really kind of do that. So we're seeing a lot more organization is looking at the top of the funnel and saying, okay, these guys are getting an advantage. What do I do at my size? What can I do there? And this is where a lot of our solutions are starting to kind of become visible.
So if I'm, let's say, a loan officer at a mortgage company that uses your portal, I could engage with buyers in the market, help them find real estate agents, help them actually think through their more
Yeah,
consultative, and be
absolutely.
like, hey, you can actually buy this property. We could finance it this way. We could, structure the
Absolutely.
loan this way.
Yeah.
If you do a little bit of renovation here, you can get it to look and feel like the way you need it to, get the value up, etc. Is that how people use it today as
Yeah,
well?
yeah. Yeah, I've seen different ways of how people use it. Depends on your use case, but yes, that's
Sure.
the whole idea behind it, right? The idea is that you're going to be an advisor to that homeowner,
Mm.
and you are going to create that loyalty. You're giving them a solution. Let's not forget, the new buyer is very different from the old buyer. The new buyer, the younger buyer, is much more informed than the buyer 20 years ago. There's just so
Mhm.
much information. They
Yeah.
grew up in the information age. They're going to do way
Mhm.
more research. So now you've got to bring that value add for that research phase and get them to feel like they have an ally. They have someone who's actually looking out for their interest in return for their loyalty.
So PK
What's so funny?
PK is that young buyer. So got to get
I was
PK.
kind of thinking about this. I was like, if somebody came to me and they don't have information, or if I feel like I know more about whatever I'm doing or like
Yes.
buying than they do, I'm like, I don't trust you.
Yeah. No, you don't need them. It's not just they don't trust them. I mean, if they're you have that information, you can do you grew up researching stuff, right?
Yeah.
You grew up Googling stuff. And so those
And
days
cold calling.
are on. You've got to add value. It's like flat data is not going to help you. You've got to give me information that is going to help me make a smarter decision. I really liken it to the way a wealth manager behaves. You've got all of us have to become wealth managers in order to acquire those customers.
Hmm.
Fascinating. I feel like Kobe would love all this. I'm sure he does.
Yeah, he does.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kobe and I were talking about
Kobe's
this
still
last
like
week.
inventory.
Yeah. Yeah.
I wish we could have Kobe on to ask him about what our president said about home prices. I want to jump to what Kobe we gave you a little bit of heads up, Raf, that Kobe asked you a question from last week, and you're going to ask someone a question for next week. But Kobe's question to you was, what do you think are the three most important things to engage young people in the mortgage industry?
I'm assuming you mortgage officers, right? Is that what you
Professionals, yeah.
professionals? I think actually it's along the same lines that I just mentioned. They're younger, they've researched, they expect you to do a lot of work for them before they work for you. And so
Mm.
let's face it, at the end of the day, if you're going to have a successful professional, you want them to generate more sales. What do salespeople like to do and do best? It's engaging with people. That's the soft thing. So I would say you've got to build the technology to do a lot more automation, reduce the paperwork load that a typical mortgage officer used to do. And I'm sure I know there's a lot of technologies right now that are trying to do that. Basically, you've got to give this person the ability to get answers really quickly and stay close to that homeowner so that they impress that homeowner. And that means a lot more automation, a lot less paper pushing. Everything should be in the push of the button, and their attention is on the homeowner, on the home buyer, nothing else. And so that's what I would say. That three things is: invest in technology, invest in the soft skills, and remove all the paper as much as you can, all the paperwork, because they don't. No decent sales guy likes to do paperwork. If they like paperwork, fire them because they're not good salespeople. They like to work with people.
Makes
So,
sense.
do you think most people overestimate what home improvements will do?
That's a really good question. I'm gonna give you a bit of a probably contrarian answer. I don't think they've even thought about the question. Most people renovate emotionally. They don't really think about what does it do to my home value. Think about it this way. If
Hold on,
I'm
hold on, hold on. I know. I think I'm going to answer your. I'm going to jump in and just say this. I renovate based on what my wife says we're going to do.
no comment.
Was
No
that where
comment.
you're going?
A lot. I mean, look. I think there are two purposes for renovation. If you're renovating to live your life, you're not going to think this way, but you should know. In other words, if you're going to invest in something that's going to reduce the marketability of your home, you should know that, even if you're going to stay for 10 years in the house. So it's in this case, it's like a nice to know type of thing. But if you are going to be moving, you're a younger, let's just say, on the move with upward mobility, you know you're not going to stay in that home for more than 4 to 5 years. If you're not going to stay in that homes for 4 to 5 years, you've got to start that way. You can't just do it. And I remember my first flipped home. I used to nag my realtor. Like I wanted, it had a big, it was a ranch. I wanted to take part of that ranch and include it in the house. So, well, actually, the entire thing. So I have more square footage. And she said, don't. You've got to leave the porch. People love porches. People buy on porches. Do not remove it. And I compromised. I took part of it and left another part. And she was right. Porch people, I remember I went when we had the open house, and I see people sitting on the porch on the rocking chair. And so that was an emotional thing. So that was an ROI. A very smart realtor figured it out, right?
Mm.
Those are kinds of questions that I think everybody should be asking. I asked
When
because I
when
know it's moving in 2 years, right?
can I ask you when that was, Raf?
That one in the year 2010, maybe. That
Got it.
first.
So it's funny is I have a friend of mine who goes to well, someone we met at our Montessori school was reading some books lately that have saying the lack of porches. If you notice on new starter homes, it's just like
Mm.
enough for
Next Oxy.
their time. Yeah, it's like
It's
you
all
two people
garage.
can barely sit around.
Oh
And so he's making an effort to like make this big porch an inviting area in his
yeah,
house.
porches are very popular. Very,
Yeah.
very popular. Again, right now, you have to think about people working and living in the same house. And think about all the amenities you have in the workplace. You probably have to add them to your house from now on. That in the future will mean a potentially small gym, right? These things are going to make things, make people who are going to work from home fall in love with those homes, right? They're called those emotional homes, by the way, like where you go into a house and even though maybe it's not going to meet your, like, let's just say the number of bedrooms you want, you're going to fall in love with it and you're going to buy it just because it makes you feel good.
Mm.
Yeah, PK, there's a lesson whenever yeah, there's one for you. When you first go buy a car or a house, no matter what, walk away from that first one.
That's true.
Just no matter what. You will find yourself being compromised, compromised, compromised.
Yeah, no, absolutely. It's you have to that, but at the same time, I think right now with more people staying at home, that emotional component becomes very important.
Yeah.
You gotta make them feel home, right? I mean, there's
Mhm.
a reason why they do staging, right? There's a reason why they put cookies. There's a reason why they put coffee. It's just to make you feel like you can live there.
Yeah.
Mm.
What about
Smart.
like smart home stuff? Is that becoming some sort of a do you see,
I think the jury's out on that one. There was and it depends on what you call by smart home because that could mean a lot of different for example, take out things like solar, which I don't know if it's a smart home, but solar went through it's still the business case hasn't made it, right? So I think there's some of the smart technology piece of it where people are questioning the cost and the rewards. A lot of it is like, I like to have it, it's a nice toy. The use case of it is very small. Of course, also, I think what you see is most of the folks who invest in that are the really well to do, and that money is not an object.
mm,
So, does that make it a big trend? I don't know about that. I mean, there's just so much technology right now, but you don't see it adopted that fast either.
Macy's trying to justify a purchase.
no, I think I always tell my wife, as long as they can get an internet connection to that room, we can put whatever we want there.
Yeah. I was with a friend in France, and he had bought this really very nice, like modern house. It used to be a factory. They converted into one of those really fancy, kind of like industrial type of homes, and it had elevator.
Mm.
Uh, it was 4 levels, and he said that the regulations in France that somebody has to come once a month to in to check
To
on
make
that
sure the
elevator,
elevator works.
you have to pay them, right?
Yeah.
And the fact of the matter is, I'm assuming if you're older, you're going to need it regardless of what it is. I mean, but then again, if you're older, is this the type of home you're going to live in the first place? But
Sure.
these things, I feel like it's still for mostly the privileged, not
Um,
necessarily the mainstream.
all right, Raf, I have this is I just had to look up my doormat and I'm gonna say this wrong, but I think you're gonna laugh at this. It says, "Oh mierde, pas toi encore," and it's supposed to mean, "Oh shit, not you again." Is that right?
I didn't follow it, to be honest with you.
You said, "Oh, oh merde, pas toi encore, encore." I don't know.
Oh merde, patois. It's oh crap. It's not you. And then what was the second part?
Uh,
Patois after patois.
pas toi encore,
Not you again.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. All
Not
right.
you again. See, I knew I was gonna butcher it, but that's what
Now,
my
what you have on your doormat?
yeah.
I'm not coming.
I'll get you a namaste one.
It's actually sorry, it's in our garage, Matt. So you have to be good people who come through our garage that we know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Raf, what part of France are you from? Or where you were born?
Paris.
Paris. Okay.
Yeah.
Do you go back often, pretty quick, frequently?
Actually, my daughter goes to college right now in France. She decided that's where she
Amazing.
wants to go, and so we spent the entire break, Christmas break, and all there. So it was the first time I experienced real cold in a long, long time because I usually go in the
Mm.
summer. I never go in the winter, so it was
Mm.
kind of not the best experience in that respect. But yes, I do very often. My son also got his first degree in France, and now he's in his second degree in Berkeley. So yeah, we go a lot.
Awesome.
Yeah.
It's beautiful.
So fix and flip shows on HGTV.
Mm.
Good or bad?
It's entertainment.
I
I mean, I don't know. It's really good entertainment. I think it makes people dream. I think I read somewhere that the majority of people who watch it don't have a home, right? It allows them to dream. So it's a dreamy thing. As a matter of fact, it's funny because one of the famous stars reached out to me, wanting to build a company, like a portal where he acts like like someone like their helper in a virtual fashion, and wanted some of our tools. And yeah, I'm not going to go in depth, but I mean, I think it allows people to imagine stuff. But at the end of the day, it's entertainment, and I think some of the big stars do an amazing job of making you see the art of the possible, and you could learn from it. So it has educational value. There's no doubt about that. But there's a lot of things that don't get covered. Time, permitting, the drama is always something. Oh, they found a leak, or they found something. But there's way more than that to that drama. Getting a permit takes a year sometimes, and negotiating with the building department and all that. So all of those are not, drama worthy per se. It doesn't get left out. But I think it serves a really good, it plays a good role in allowing you to see what's possible, imagine the art of it. I think it allows people to dream. And I remember when I flipped my first home, I did watch a few and I got some ideas. So I think there's that value in it. But at the end of the day, it's drama.
Okay.
Sure.
I like the answer. It's entertainment. That was all I needed.
It is.
Honesty.
It is. But I don't want to take away anything from that, because entertainment is necessary. I don't think it's just a luxury nowadays. It has a lot of values, but I think how real is the whole thing is if people think that that's how real life happens, there's a problem. But this is how half of it happens, maybe.
Well, what would you say the biggest like budget item then is, like, that is probably underestimated? Like, hey, I'm gonna redo my kitchen for $5,000, and you're like, whoa, we do it just the countertops on the island, or what?
No, actually, it's the things that you do at the end. What is the last thing you do on the house
Paint,
before paint?
drywall,
Flooring.
flooring. Oh,
Flooring, because pricing of flooring is lumber driven, and there is just a huge kind of variety in terms of material and cost. So often people spend energy and money building fancy homes, and then when they get to the flooring, they realize that, oh, if I'm going to do the entire house with my taste that matches all of this, it's always over the budget. Always. Because as you probably know, most of the time there's a some sort of an allowance that you work with your contractor on how much you're going to spend on each material. You don't really, I mean, the smart ones go and price everything, but most of us evolve their taste as we build in the house. Nobody starts with a budget, ends with the same budget, not if they're married at least. So, right? So you're going to overspend. That's always going to be the case. And I think this is the thing. The more you spend earlier because you think you have a lot more money. But the problem is once you spend money on fancy things, you gotta continue that path. You can't just do like a laminate flooring when you've done a
Right.
career marble.
Doesn't match. Yeah.
Right? So you just get stuck into these things.
Yeah.
Most people spend upfront rather than at the end, and that's
Yeah.
why most projects kind of towards the end they struggle and borrow more. This is going to be the case.
Yep. Yeah, PK, if you ever do a new construction, you'll find that they'll make you sign a disclosure that's like, hey, this is based off the cost of things now. Unforeseen stuff may happen, like
Yeah.
things
Like
on
COVID.
COVID, and
Yeah,
prices
COVID's a
will
good
go up. And
example.
yeah, my wife said, this is what's going to be our new construction budget. We're going to establish the amount of money we're going to spend, and then we're going to budge it.
As in downwards or upwards?
Upwards.
Oh, gotcha.
What do you think?
What do you think? Yeah, this is what we're going to spend, and then we're going to budget. We're just going to keep budgeting it up.
I thought you were saying she goes in saying, "Here, we're going to spend 600, but realistically, we want to go to 400."
Yeah.
Oh, PK, you're so delusional.
Remodeling and building homes is not very different from shopping.
Yeah.
It's called
Hey, dude, when you go to that interior design center, and they're going to be like, you have all these choices to make, and you're going to be like, oh, well, this has got to be the one, and then we got to be this one, and got to be this one. Okay, you're picking all these things, frames, knobs, finishes, valences, all these things, and you're like, here's your price, and you're like, wait, all right, we got to cut something, and you slowly go down a list of no's. What about no? We can't do that. No, oh no, do you know that was so beautiful? What about this? No, we can't. Okay, how about the doorknobs, babe? They would look so silly if we didn't have them. You're just like, all right,
yeah.
Okay, we have
more pressure.
Yeah. Let's see and then you start hearing the terms like, well, that's a level 4 upgrade. Like, what's a level 4 on this one? And like, well, that's a level 3.
Just buy it.
So the question we have for our guest next week that you are going to ask a question for, Raf, is Jeremy Davis from Southern Bank Corp. Great guy. I sent you his LinkedIn beforehand just to give you a little prep. What is a question you have for this gentleman?
So honestly, I really looked at it just for 5 minutes, so I didn't have a lot of time to prep. But looking at his profile, I think the question that relates to what we're talking about, which is, given the investment in the top of the funnel that's driven by the larger organizations and the acquisitions, how does he view that problem? How do you get around it so that you are not sort of getting the breadcrumbs and basically the whatever is left over? For a company of his size, how do you approach that challenge, and how do you build the business case to say, I have to do it or I don't have to do it? And the reason I'm asking that question is because I've been in conversations where most folks build a business case on hard numbers. In this case, you're building the case on a very soft number because you're predicting. In a way, it's in the same way Amazon invested in customer satisfaction too early, spent a lot of money to get that customer. That ROI could not have been measured in the beginning. Right? I've seen financial organization really struggle with trying to put a dollar value on that investment because the outcome is not something they've experienced before. And so they don't have the numbers and they go into this kind of cycle. So that would be my question.
Okay. Can you highlight that a little bit? Break that down for me. Amazon invested too much on customer satisfaction too early. Can you explain that a little bit more?
all digital platforms invest upfront. That's just a reality. If you're going to generate leads, all the lead generation business, okay, that's the top of the funnel business, invest a lot in the digital experience, right? Invest a lot in making you come, in making you engage, and so that you're not coming directly to transact. You're coming directly to live on their website, then transact,
Okay.
right?
Like
That's
build a
how
relationship.
the world of the digital innovation has kind of moved. If you look at the mortgage industry, and with the acquisitions of the portal, we're moving in that direction. We're moving up the funnel when people are starting to shop for a home in order to generate more mortgage business, right? So you're going up. Now, not many people can afford buying portals. Majority of mortgage companies cannot do that. So what's the play? How can you still remain relevant so you don't end up getting less
The
business?
breadcrumbs.
Right. They don't want to do that, right? So that means there has to be a strategy formulated to allow you to be in front of those people so that you don't get left out.
Got it.
Completely
Okay.
understand.
And it's a great question.
Maybe hard, maybe difficult. So I apologize to him already. But
No,
I
you'll
think
kill
this
it.
is a result of a lot of conversation with folks. I get people say, I really get it, but I don't know how to put a number on it.
Yeah.
Well, you make a lot of assumptions and test and test and test and adjust. And that's what you do. That's unfortunately the new world that we live in.
Well, knowing Jeremy and the way he approaches things, I think this is a great question. I wish his bar stool, is it pits and
Barbershop,
barbershops and pews and I don't know. He has a lot
corner
about,
stores.
yeah, corner stores, barbershops, and something else. A lot about personal local connection.
That's
So I
Yeah,
think this is going to be right up his alley.
That's exactly
Um,
right. Being connected to those folks and being in front of them, and without you expecting them to transact right away is really key
yeah,
because they'll see through it if you're trying to be pushy.
right. Totally.
agreed.
Well,
Cool.
Raf, thank you for your time. It's been a pleasure.
It was a
Looking
lot of
forward to
fun.
talking to you again.
Yeah.
Thank you all for joining.
Thank you very much. Appreciate the opportunity.